The Talking Ted.
It's the Talking Ted.
Welcome to the Talking
Hey,
Ted.
everybody. Welcome to the first after show. This is crazy not being live, but we're going to pretend like we're live, right?
Oh, yeah.
I'm alive and you're alive, and I have makeup on, so we're going to all try to figure that out later. My guests on the after show today are Yvonne Sandoval. And she looks good. She's got her boobs in the camera, so
yeah.
we're golden.
Wait,
and then you've got Veronica Figueroa, who's got boobs too, but she's not. She's done the makeup, so we're golden.
Oh.
Veronica got really snaked into this today because I knew we were going to do a show, an after show today, the first one, and Yvonne didn't even know. Actually, I just told her we were meeting, and I figured why not do the surprise, and then you stayed. You're a great guest.
Well, when I leave Avalon, I stay out and
right, so
make it matter.
Because that's out cow pasture area. Like you're way the heck out near the power plant.
Yep.
Yeah, sorry. Tony's
With
in the
a free
background.
outfit.
And we have guests. We have audience. We have Edie, we have Angela, and we have Tony. So they're in the background. Say hi, guys.
G'day!
Hey!
This is where we hold the applaud sign and they all clap.
We're not going to get naked on this show, but later.
Later.
At another time.
We're still drinking.
So we're still drinking. So I think that Yvonne came up with a great idea for what we want to talk about on the first show. And we also want to talk about the recap of the show earlier, but authenticity, right?
Yeah.
So talk about that a little bit, because we are all about that in 2018. This is what we're going to do. We're going to swear. So should I say the first swear word? Should I be the one that
Well,
says it?
Well, Veronica.
Well, Veronica said ass earlier, right? 2018.
I hold the first swear word
You are, for
2018. I'm so
2018.
sorry, but I'm so proud of
Ass.
it.
Like in my house, F was the fat word, fat. S was stupid. And I forget the rest of them, but we never swore in front of the kids until we started drinking heavily again. And then God knows what happened. I forgot most of their childhood, they'll tell you that. So authenticity and swearing and being able to be real. Like I think most people are real on the show, don't get me wrong. But there are a lot of things that we talk about after the show and before the show that really I think are beneficial in a crazy way to the rest of the world. I feel like people would love to be engaged in some of the conversations we have. You only get 25, 30 minutes, and we're all lovey, and people cry, and I love that about the show, and I love you guys for supporting the show. But wow, we have a lot more that we talk about on a daily basis. So talk about authenticity, Yvonne. Welcome to 2018, by the way.
Welcome, yes,
I'm glad you're here.
Thank you so much. Well, I think this is the thing. When it comes to business, and when this is, we want to frame this. Should you be authentic and genuine in business? Because in life, do you have a choice? No, you're going to be you. But I think a lot of people, they frame what they say and what they do to their audience based on taboos or norms and such. But should you just be yourself?
Well, don't you think, does that make people fake? That's what I feel like sometimes. People are so fake. Mm-hmm. And I don't think they mean it. I think that's their only way that they've ever engaged with anybody. So they don't even know what their real self is. I don't feel like.
Well, I think as human beings, we tend to adapt to the audience who's in front of us. But this is a great topic because my first kickoff meeting with my team, who now is a brand new team of really high energy people from the walks of life, of an 18-year-old, a 21-year-old, and a 46-year-old. So we're all in the room, and then I'm almost 40, right? And we're talking about what
Allegedly.
we want to be and refresh in a brand. And it was so funny because it came from the voice of a 19-year-old who said, she's 18 to me, but she's really 19. She says, people want authenticity. People want the real version of you, Veronica. If they saw you behind the scenes, they would know that we've seen you be the professional Veronica, but we get to work with you day in and day out, and we get the raw, authentic. So I was talking about Gary Vee. Obviously, Gary Vee is obviously an icon.
Gary Vee.
And I'm excited because on January 24th, I get to go to a private segment with him and spend some time with him. And I actually
Isn't she special?
Well, whatever. I paid a lot of money for her, but
Agent 2020.
My point is,
I'm excited for you.
It was Agent, right, in Miami. If you haven't been or signed up, go ahead and go for it because it's going to be an amazing event. But my point was, it took a 19-year-old to say to me, we want to follow raw, authentic people, right? If you want to tap into the millennials of the world, why do you think we follow people who are relatable or inspiring? It's because they're raw. We don't want the cookie cutter. We want the documentary style, the behind the scenes of you. Maybe it's not about dropping an F-bomb to drop an F-bomb, but just understanding that behind the scenes of when you're negotiating something or just having a moment of a breakdown and just being successful but also being relatable, we need to realize that that's okay. Absolutely. And I have some amazing people who I work with day in, day out, and they said, I only work with you because I got to know the real you, and you weren't the cookie cutter real estate broker sort of say, right? I felt like I saw you at the bar. I saw, not to say that I'm an alcoholic, but just FYI.
Allegedly, again.
Allegedly, right?
I'm her sponsor. How do you think that's going?
Or they saw me in my rawest, authentic moment, but they also saw me at success level and they were able to relate. But I gained respect from a lot of people who I may have thought I needed to be proper for, but they were like, I only came to work with you, or I wanted to be in business with you because I felt I could connect with you.
Well, that's what happens, right? Go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree. There's, the 2017 Influencer of the Year was Grant Cardone. And Grant Cardone, he happens to be in the same industry, real estate, but he is genuine. He tells it like it is. He speaks from the heart. He gives his 2 cents, and it's not produced. It's not scripted. No. It's genuine. It's on his phone because that's relatable. So yes, Ted has his show and he does a magnificent job. But this is the opportunity. I paid her to say that, by the way. This is the opportunity for us to be more authentic to us and to enjoy that freedom. Not to say you don't have that freedom in business. It's tempered. But honestly, Gary Vee worked his way up to where he is, where he can speak his voice and be his genuine self. And not all of us can maybe do that when we're first starting out.
But don't you think that people should, right?
Yeah.
Like, I believe that people should this is my 2018 thing. I just want to be as transparent as possible. Yeah. So one of the people that I'm bringing on, we're going to do a weekly show. She has a company called Credit Boutique. So like everyone else, I suffered during 2008. And I'm still paying for some of that 2008, and most people that I know are as well, but they're too busy posting on Facebook about how wonderful their lives are, and they're dealing with the bullshit. Can I say shit?
Yeah.
The bullshit of holding that image up. And so I'm going to have her on weekly. We're going to start with whatever mess I have that I've been dealing with and still been successful at. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to post all of my Fair Villa purchases or anything like that. But we're going to talk about that. And I feel like people need to get off of that insanity and perfection. That's great. Yes. Perfection horse. And really talk about the crap they're going through. Because just because you talk about it doesn't mean that you're empowering it. And I believe that there's a difference. So if I talk about it, I'm releasing it to the world and I'm figuring out a way to handle it. That doesn't mean I'm giving it all the power. It doesn't mean that I'm focusing and giving all my energy to it. It just means that I'm finally figuring out a way to put it out there and deal with it. And do you know how many people sit at my table at the club and cry over their finances, what's going on, their spouse, their credit cards, their business, and nobody feels comfortable enough to talk about that? Well, this year, what I plan to do is try to address some of those crazy demons that we're all dealing with and just be as transparent and authentic as possible. So we're going to have the credit show.
This is like the real world?
It's crazy, right? It should be the real world.
Throwback.
Oh, God, did I just scratch my makeup off? It's going to be the real world.
This is when we get
God,
real, Ted.
We're totally real. Here it is.
This is what happens behind
Here
the
it
scenes,
is.
real. Like,
that's
this
what happens
contouring, this is not real. This is like losing 15 pounds in one shot.
Is that what happens? Can you do it on my stomach? We need that.
Ooh, contouring.
Oh my God, contouring.
My daughter's taught me that.
I want all of us to be able to be free enough to do that.
No, and I really think it's important, and I think that you're bringing something, and I told you this earlier, you're not just bringing something within your industry or our industry. We're just bringing the authenticity of who we are as humans, yes. Right? The human element of no matter what industry you're in, we're all hustlers and we're all wanting to provide for our families, but behind the scenes, we laugh, we cry, we go into fetal position sometimes. It's nice to have people like you just keep it raw. And I actually applauded you, and I want to applaud you again. What you're doing is, and I told you, in an era where we constantly have to reinvent ourselves, I love that you're reinventing yourself, but with the core being authenticity.
Thank you.
Because I don't think that enough people do it. So some of my words that I say, people throw out too much: authenticity, intentional, millennials, and disruption. They throw those words out like if it was just a plague, right? But you are a true testament to doing it. You put everyone else before you. You're not doing this because it's all about Ted. You're making it about others. And I think that that's a true testament about what authenticity is. Mm-hmm. He's being intentional about bringing you content, connecting people. And out of this room, we've already made some great collaborations. I think the new word should be collaboration.
I love that word.
Collaboration
awesome.
and creativity is what I feel is the power of, ideas and disruption, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think we're in an era now, those of us who are still in the blockbuster mindset, be worried about what Ted is doing, because Ted is creating a wave of just what the new generation is. And he is the freshest, most stylish, and also is now wearing contour.
Ooh, there we go, contour.
Kind of person that just gets it. And I just want you to know how much I appreciate, first of all, being here, kicking off 2018.
Such a blessing.
But it really is awesome to just be on this wave of just not being cookie cutter. And I think it's important to just say that.
Thank you for that. I mean, that's what we want to do. That's what I want to do. That's sort of the vision of, and it's evolving. So people are like, how did you come up with this idea? All right, here's the idea. I'm tired of people asking me what I do. I do mortgages, and I'm already bored of that, and we're past that, and I don't talk about it anymore. But that was the thought process in the beginning. I've got to tell people what I do, but I also get to meet with the coolest people in Orlando on a daily basis because I'm so involved philanthropically or with other organizations. And so why wouldn't I do a show where mortgages are sort of the offshoot of that? And now it's just taken on a life of its own. And I believe that it has because you all are open to engaging in it. You're not afraid to go, all right, and that's why people cry on the show. We talked about this earlier.
Right.
We had Scott Hartwell, and I'll bring him up because he tells me all the time since he cried on the 22nd, oh my God, I haven't cried in front of anyone ever. So if you're on the show and we're creating an environment, not me, but you all of us are embracing him in a way that he feels safe, that's what people want. They want to be able to express themselves. They want to be able to go, oh my God, I can actually say this out loud for the first time. And that's what he did when he was talking about his love for his grandmother and his grandfather and her Sicilian meatballs and the fact that she's 94. Yeah. And he just broke down. People need that. We all need that safe zone.
And I want to break it down just a little further to say that, I'm always I work with real estate agents, and what I'm always telling them is, the one thing that they continuously talk about is the one thing that separates them from their audience. So if they're always talking about real estate, and you know that the people that they're speaking to are not real estate agents. So if you continuously talk about the thing that separates you, you're never going to build that trust. So if you break that, we call that the Great Wall of Mistrust in marketing. If you break that wall down by building commonality and familiarity, you talk about the things that make you the same. So do we all curse? Yes, we all curse. We're brothers, we're sisters, we're mothers, we're fathers, we have to talk about those things that bring us together. Right. So whether Ted's a mortgage broker or Veronica's a real estate owner and broker and agent, those are the things that others don't have in common with her. So let's not talk about those things constantly. Let's talk about the things that bring us together.
Agreed.
So what are some of those things that we can talk about? Like, so we were just talking about recently in our team, we're talking about everyone's a foodie, right? Everyone loves food. You were talking about Orlando was named number 3 as the most foodie destination, and it's up and coming. What else? I mean, it's also a city of innovation. How are we providing that? Even just yesterday, it was the first freeze of the year, right? And one of our friends was like, did you forget to turn your pool pump on and make sure that your pipes don't freeze, right? And we're like, oh my gosh, that's the content we should be putting out there for our people, our clients and our friends. But take it even deeper. Like, I mean, how raw do we get? How raw do we get?
Raw.
Go as much as
Why
you
was this guy crying
deep
on your show? He was talking about his grandma's recipe.
Because I believe that people hold all of this stuff in, and the first time they verbalize it, which a lot of times has happened on the show, it's the first time they've said it out loud. That is so powerful to hear and to speak to someone else, and you are literally bearing your soul at that moment. And that's what happens with the show, and that's what we all want, the authenticity here. I believe that you can't go deep enough on the business, because I will do business with someone that I like over someone who might have the most amazing track record on the planet and post all these amazing things on Facebook, and they look like they're the best broker, the best mortgage guy, the best insurance person, or the best pool guy. I don't care what it is. But if I can't relate to you, and I don't feel like I can be in your world and that I'm touched by something that you do, I don't want to do business with you. If I don't like you, like is so important. It's such a small thing, but people overlook it. If I don't like you, Veronica, if I don't like you, Yvonne, I'm never going to do business with you. I don't care how amazingly famous and awesome you are. You're not going to do business with me if you don't like me.
Absolutely.
It's crazy.
When I teach marketing, I teach three things: TOM, like, and resonate. So TOM is top of mind, like, and resonate. So if those three things is how we build any commercials that we write, any print or television or radio, we write it from those three aspects. So those are the things that we need to implement in our business. You want to be top of mind. How do you become top of mind? Because you're bringing today's timely and relevant solutions to your fan base, to your audience, and that can be something that is going to help them in their Thursday. Okay, not something that's going to be talking about, maybe if we're a real estate agent, we talk about market data. That market data may not be relevant to my Thursday, but if you talk about something like you said, the pool pump, that is going to be relevant to me today.
It can be the pool pump. It could be the fact that my friend committed suicide. It could be the fact that my son went to rehab. It could be the fact that I'm going through depression. It could be the fact that I need inspiration. There's so many topics that I think we as professionals just don't talk about. Nobody wants to be in that dark era, and we talked about that earlier.
We did.
But we also want to resonate towards the fact that we simply need to know we can connect. And obviously, I don't have a degree in psychology, or I took classes and I probably failed them, but reality, life has hit me. But I think that we can learn a lot from so many people, from even our audience, who's here, and even the people who are like teaching us what the angle that we should be producing.
I love that. Oh, that was a whole thing.
And then if we're saying something that's good, they're like yes. If we're saying something that's bad, they're like no.
Oh yeah, I'm watching them. I'm sweating a little. They got the contours on.
I feel like even I can learn from my children. I have 5 children, and from the ages of 22 to 13, and the bulk of them go from 18 to 22. Imagine that. And they're like, "Mom, you're whack," or "Mom, you're cool."
You know what's beautiful about that, though? I want to talk about how you are on Facebook, and talk about the authenticity. So when you put stuff out on social media, there are a few things that I come away with. You love your children and your family, and you love Tony, and you express that. That is what we need. Nice. Tony put the applause on. That's awesome.
Perfect.
But you express that, and people don't do that enough. They think it, they might feel it, but you're out there and you're putting it out there. And so you're talking about that. And what does that do? Even though that's not your purpose, what does that do? That endears you to me. I feel connected to you because I feel that way too. I feel things because you're putting out your feelings. And so it's wonderful that we talked about this. You are vulnerable on Facebook. You talk about your downs, your ups, you're pissed off, you're angry, you're happy. Just because she talks about the fact that she's pissed off and angry doesn't mean that she's a pissed off, angry person. This is an isolated thing that she's sharing, and that's the thing that I think people don't want to do. Oh my God, if I post on there I'm pissed off, everyone's going to think I'm pissed off all the time. You're human, exactly.
I want to work with a human.
Applaud you. Right, we all want to work with somebody who is human and is not afraid to express those things. Right. So kudos to you for doing that. Honestly,
I don't know if this is a generational thing too. It may be. I mean, maybe we should have
I don't know. It's actually the younger generation who's out there.
I mean, there's a lot of filtering of their lives. They filter their pictures. They filter what they post.
So
their reality is not there for them. And facing reality is something that's going to be a difficult transition when they do reach their older age. So we, I think because of our age group, we are not afraid to be authentic and genuine. And
30 to
actually,
35,
there
right?
is no filter.
Well, what's
on
the
life
audience?
insurance.
So
So talk.
she's 34, I'm 35. So
This is Angela and Edie, by the way.
They're amazing, by the
They're
way,
awesome.
and beautiful.
They set up our whole camera thing, so that's why we look good right now. That and the contouring, apparently.
So I think that people tend to wear a mask for so long that they forget who they really are
Agreed.
underneath the mask. And if you've ever had a conversation with an Uber driver or an airport bartender, you will find out that sometimes we are so free and are able to just completely unbear our souls to someone that we don't know at all, because it's safe, right? You're never going to see that person again. And so we have these fleeting moments of complete vulnerability where we talk about the deepest, darkest things that are taking over us, and we're able to talk about it with reckless abandon, right? But then we can't even sometimes talk to our own family.
So do you feel
our
that the
own-
tables have been reversed? Before we used to have these intentional and authentic conversations just with people who were in our circle.
Yes.
Now we want to have a mask
I
within
literally
the...
think it has
Yeah.
flipped. I literally think
I
that
agree.
now we're in this era where it's easier to talk to a complete stranger sometimes, and you're able to, just unleash. But your sister, your mother, your brother, your best friend. Sometimes you don't want to admit it. And I can speak from experience. I'm going through a divorce right now, and literally, I kept it a secret from so many people that I know really, really well for like a very long time. Like, made it look like
Why?
everything was
So
fine.
I'm curious. Why did you keep it a secret?
Because I don't turn the
This is the off-camera
Production, this is
Here it
off
comes.
camera
I'm in the
editing.
studio audience, okay?
I love
Studio
that.
audience.
I love that.
Studio audience.
Because I wasn't willing to accept people's opinions about it. And I thought to myself, you know what? It's probably going to be better if I get through this phase and then I talk about it when it's over, right? So then I can just say, oh yeah, I left like a year ago and it's fine. And it actually has been beneficial, I will say. Sometimes keeping things inside can be helpful. And anybody who practices the law of attraction in business, which I do, I'm sure you all do as well, there is a benefit to not always posting about
Yes.
your bad day or
Yes.
Yes.
Agreed.
letting
I
your
agree.
negative thoughts or your negative ideas manifest, or if you
It can consume you.
it really can. And so that's another part of this discussion is how much is too much, how much is safe, how much is healthy, how much is bringing or inviting negativity in, but
Well,
we
that's
have to
the
find the
thing.
balance.
Well, and I believe in that. So, for example, like getting really, really raw and just understanding this isn't a live show, right? This is just whatever, and whatever. At the time, by the time someone listens to this, they may not be there.
Crying.
But there's no crying here. But I recently went through, and I told you, like after I hit the height of my career, and I was on this platform that I was like, woo, on top of the world. I hit this depression that was like, what do I do next? But it was because when my career was thriving, my family, what I felt was safe, crumbled. My son, I had no idea my son was going through something and he went to rehab. And I was like, this doesn't happen to me, but I had to face it. And it wasn't because I had to force him. He came to me and says, Mom, I need your help. And I was like, oh my God, am I strong enough to go through this? And it was like something that I wasn't ready for. And, now that it's past, now that I went through it, now that I'm over it, and I'm never over it, but like, I didn't know how to admit it to the world that I went into fetal position because I had this career height, but then someone that I gave birth to was going through a moment that, how did I let that pass before me and not realize it? And I felt kind of like selfish, but I didn't put that out to the world because obviously through, like we said, career, law of attraction, and just like we're expected to be this whole like complete person. But now I can talk about it and know that I'm very proud that he felt comfortable enough to come to me and say, Mom, I need your help. And at first I felt devastated, but then as I hindsight, I look back, I'm like, he trusted me enough to be the one to call, hopped in a car, made it happen, and got him the best rehab facility, and he was there for 30 days. Yeah. It's still a long journey of recovery.
Of course.
We're still dealing with it. It's brought our family closer, but it's made me more nimble as a human to realize, although I might be on top of the world in my career, my family is my biggest priority. And I don't think we talk about that enough.
So you shared that though, so think about it. So once this goes wherever we're going to put it, there is somebody out there.
Yes, who's gonna
there's
find
somebody
strength in that.
strength, and so whatever phase you want to share it at, I think it's so critical, because I have friends who were going through things, and like a son committed suicide, loved ones are sick and they're dying of cancer. I mean, whenever you feel comfortable sharing that, the sooner the better, in my opinion, because it's not only cathartic and healing for you, it is cathartic and healing for somebody out there going through the exact same thing that you have no idea that they're going through, and they are looking for absolutely any idea of, oh my God, who else is going through that? And so I applaud you for sharing that here, and I would applaud anybody that wants to share their story. We talk about, Tony is a veteran, and so we talk about the suicides, the 22 a day that go on with veterans, and I'm such a proponent of just talk about it. Let's get it out there.
Well, let's not talk only about that. We got suicide, drugs, alcoholism, postpartum. I've never seen such a postpartum epidemic. I mean, maybe because I was not aware of it, but like
Tons
even
of pressure,
friends
right?
of my own
There's
who are
so
just
much pressure that women put on other women, right? So it's like,
I agree with that.
You're not breastfeeding. Oh, you're formula feeding, or oh, you're breastfeeding. I mean, right? Like even just
It's
that
always
topic
been that way.
alone.
Yeah.
I'm guilty
so
of it.
much pressure, and and then there's also the physical thing that your body goes through, and a lot of people aren't prepared for that because nobody talks about it.
Right.
So then after, you're like, oh my gosh, I don't even remember who I used to be, or and your friends are just like, oh, everything's great, and your baby, and nobody knows that maybe
you're
so,
going through it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a very guilty person, and I'll raise my hand up and say, like, I had my kids when I was very young, and I had to just go into survival mode. I had no one, I had no spouse, I had to feed for my children. And now I have friends who, let's say things didn't work out or whatever, they had a baby postpartum, and they're like in deep like postpartum, and I'm like, shake it up, buttercup. And I'm like, I'm not empathetic to them because I didn't go through that. But then I finally reflected and says, maybe I need to understand that not everyone's like me. And then I've seen some deep cases of postpartum that I had no idea. Maybe I did go through postpartum. I just didn't have a chance to realize it.
Don't you think women are, and I know we're getting at 30 minutes, but don't you think women are the hardest on themselves?
Yes.
Like I feel like, and this is hopefully, my daughter always says, you're sometimes misogynistic. I don't mean it that way. But I'm going to tell you that most of the women business owners I know, unless you're really in touch with it, you're not as supportive of other women business owners and entrepreneurs as you should be.
Yes.
And there is a lot
Very
of
hard.
backstabby stuff. Dudes, I'm sorry, dudes are dudes. We punch each other in the arm, we
And then shake
F off,
hands
and then
after.
we're
Oh,
done and
it's
we
so
do
true.
business. And women, and they don't talk about it enough.
Well, I think we hold ourselves to such a high standard that we expect, and we hold other women to the same standard. We're very hard on ourselves, so therefore we're hard on other women.
Well, and I think
that's what
that
it translates.
you just said it. There's not enough of collaboration or empowerment.
There's not.
I am part of a mastermind group and another secret group of women who are encouraging each other. I think it needs to be more vocal. And if it was up until I started going to a women's executive mastermind that we started talking about depression, executive women who have pressure, who aren't taking care of their mental health. Mental health is something else that people don't talk enough about. Anxiety, just the fact that sometimes we mask our feelings because we want to relate to society.
I don't think it's necessarily relating to society. I think women, especially older women in executive positions, feel there is a pressure to not be seen as the emotional
Or weak.
weak.
Because
So
they
they're-
feel like emotional is weak.
Yeah.
I feel like, and I don't look at, as a man, I don't look at it like that. But women look at it. You all are very critical of each other
And ourselves.
and yourselves. And
Yes.
most guys don't look at you like that. And I wish that with all of the movement about women empowerment and all of this, that you all would be more kind to each other and more understanding of each other, because you're all going through it, just like dudes are going through it too. But we're over it. It's not to say that we're not emotional, but you all really are hard on each other. So I watch this all the time. I just left 2 years at Women's Council of Realtors, and I can tell you that group which are going to kill me once this gets posted, they are not supportive in general of each other on a big scale. And you would think a group that has women in it would love women, promote women, want every woman to be successful.
So can we say that in 2018, the TED Talk show is going to consist of...
She changes the name every time.
Wait, is it
fantastic?
TED?
We're just going to call it the TED Show, but don't
TED
call it
Talk.
TED Talk.
TED Talk is already a thing.
Oh,
And
wait,
the problem
TED
is
Show.
I'm going to get a cease and desist.
No,
So let's
scratch
not
that.
go there.
That's
So
me,
wrong.
like, just messing up. But the
I'm
TED
fine
Show, whatever, they can blame me, okay, is going to consist of empowerment, not just in women, but, like, content that is just going to be overall authentic.
Yeah.
And real issues, real talk,
Yes.
right? Real talk, real TED talk.
Like we did today. So we're at 30 minutes, and I just want to cut it off because I don't want to cut it off, but I really think we should. You guys have been amazing. All of you. Thank you, Edie. Thank you, Angela, Tony, Veronica, and Yvonne. And you all, we love you guys. I swear I do. With all my heart. And you're amazing, and you are so supportive. And so we're going to see how this all goes. Let's hope it even taped, all right, because we haven't done that yet, because there's nobody online going, hey, are you on? Can you hear us? But we love you guys, and we're going to do many, many more of these. We're going to say a whole bunch more swear words and talk about sex, drugs, and
send
rock
us
and roll.
topics. Send
us
us
topics,
things you want us to
yes.
talk about.
And we're going to do that, but we love you guys very much. And I'm going to have Edie, thank you, by the way, hit the red button that's going to shut us down. So there you go.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.